Hi guys, so for this discussion, I instantly thought about a children's book that I came across one day. I was in the checkout line at TJ Maxx and in the little doodads and whatever else that they sell at the checkout line, kind of like the impulse buys. I look over and there's this book just shoved in there. Um, the book is called Our Skin, and it is by Megan Madison, Jessica Raleigh, and Isabel Roxas. Because of the title, I thought that it was just a book about skin color. And, my daughter's being, half Hispanic or Hispanic, half Mexican, half white, right? I am all about books about different skin colors and family dynamics and whatever else. You guys also might hear my dog. He's a pug, so he's super loud. So yeah, I bought it without really thinking about it. And it wasn't until I got home and read it to my kids that I noticed this part, and it's a first conversation about race. I was a little shocked, but it ended up being a really good book. It starts with how children notice at a very young age the differences around them. And then it goes into what skin is made up of, explains what keratin is, and then jumps pretty fast into the truth about racism and how it came to be. It explains racism, discrimination, and gives examples of each where a child would understand what each term would mean. So things like an example of like how superheroes are mostly white. And then explains the different terms and names of groups of people such as indigenous, Latinx, and biracial. They go into like indigenous, Asian, African American, white, stuff like that. I found it interesting and useful in explaining to my children the injustices that many go through. Like I mentioned, my husband's Mexican, so I have Hispanic daughters, and my stepdaughter is also Hispanic as well as half Black. So it's been really useful in explaining to them kind of what's going on. This actually brought up the article, What is Racial Domination? And the article explains how race is not a natural creation, it's a social fabrication. This is something many people, including grown adults, still don't understand. I found it interesting that kind of went into explaining how only the ideas and expectations assigned by society has given the categories of Black and white, Asian, and whatever else the weight and significance it always has had in our society. This book also has a lot to do with the article White Fragility. When I initially got the book, I was a little taken aback by how blunt it was with the origin of racism. It essentially goes in to explain how one day, let me find it. One day, white people were interested in the idea of race and how they just made the idea called race up. They sorted people by skin color and said that white people were better, smarter, prettier, and that they deserved more than everybody else. That isn't true or fair at all, but it's a story that has been told for a long time. And it goes on to explain how white scientists were looking at the different skulls and decided that white was better. This made me a little, this was a little shocking. And in a sense, I think that was a little bit of white fragility coming out. I soon realized, though, that it was, or it is, the truth. And there's no reason to be offended or reluctant to read or have the book. Now, when talking to my stepdaughter about it, I did bring it up to her mother. Her mother was a little concerned just because she's very pro Black Power, which is, of course, what we want. But I did want to make sure that she was aware that even though I didn't share her experiences in life, that I was able to communicate about race to my stepdaughter in a proper and authentic way, if that makes sense. So far, the book has been very useful in explaining certain things to my daughters, and anyone out there watching this that has kids, especially young kids, I highly suggest this book. At the end, also, it explains what each term is and has like a little depth, like what racism is, what race is, stereotypes, empowerment. So it kind of goes into what certain definitions are, or what certain terms are. It explains how we can fight for justice for certain groups and how we can stand up to certain things. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good one. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy, and thanks for watching.